So if you think that work is something that you don't need to do, and I'm talking about work as in a job, something that you do for several hours a day, maybe about 8 hours a day, you get money in return for that. You get a paycheck. Now, if you think that you don't need to do that, if you think that it is unnatural or that the whole concept of work was invented by evil people who are trying to control you, then you are in a position where you will not be able to really make any kind of progress in any other sphere, spiritually, psychologically, self-actualization wise. And the reason for that is that work in this sense is a natural phenomenon. It's not a made up thing. It is a naturally occurring principle. All animals, organisms of any kind that appear in nature must work. They make effort. After applying effort, they get the reward, which is typically food. So a wolf who wants food spends quite a lot of his day poking around, working, looking for scraps, looking for prey. Only after expending that energy to do so does he actually find what it is he's looking for. In the past, I love to make the analogy of bees, worker bees. They have to go out every day and bust ass, picking up pollen, doing their job, and then at the end of all of that, they get the reward of food and sustenance as a result of that work. No organism has the option of just laying around and not bothering with it, and someone comes and says, here you go, here's your paycheck, here's your resources, here's your food, just for being you, because you deserve it, because you have a right to it. There's no such thing as rights in this manner. When politicians and shysters and UBI advocates talk about this sort of thing, that you have a right to an income, or you have a right to food, or a right to water, they are lying to deceive you, to get you to vote for them so that they can continue to have power. Now, when they do enact these social services, this makes you more disempowered and more reliant on them. So think about it. The only time that a wolf or any animal does get a free meal for him every day is when he's in a zoo or when he's on a farm, he's domesticated. So you have to understand that there is no free lunch. That's what it comes down to. And it's so important, I'm going to say it again, there is no free lunch. And if the lunch looks like it's free, you're not looking hard enough. Now, as far as esoteric subjects and ancient texts, what I like to call the super texts, Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, even Secret of the Golden Flower, ancient Taoist writings, all of them recognize this factor. All of them talk in some form or another about how you must responsibly carry out this kind of substantial work. So some people like to call it mundane work, like it's just a bother and it's bullshit anyhow. No, it's not bullshit. I don't call it mundane work. I call it substantial work, which is the basis for your life. That has to be done. A certain level has to be achieved, a level where you not only have the extra time and resources to pursue higher possibilities, but also what you learn from doing substantial work over a period of time. You learn personal responsibility. You learn the laws of exchange, that you put in effort, you receive something in return. You learn rules like going the extra mile if you really commit yourself to something. You learn how to form relationships with other people, to be communicative and to be more effective in how you do things. Gurdjieff talked about this. This comes from Vedic teachings. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. He talks about being a good householder. That's a first priority. And in Bhagavad Gita, this comes up when Arjuna asks Krishna, which is the better way to spiritual enlightenment? To leave society completely and just become a hermit, monk, yogi type character, or to be a householder, to work a job and stuff and participate in life. The best way is to go and be a householder, because that way you rise to a position where no one else is responsible for you, where this is where personal responsibility comes in. You can't be dependent on anyone else, still have personal responsibility. You can't be dependent on anyone else and make any kind of substantial movements in an upward direction. Once you achieve a substantial level of success and stability in the real world, then you have the possibility looking towards the super substantial possibilities. Now, there are many occultists, spiritualists who will skip all of this stuff and just go right to the spiritual stuff. And so you go right to the spiritual stuff, and then it'll trickle down backwards and bring you all of these commodities. Now, a couple of things you need to be aware of is that overwhelmingly, most of the people who write these books on occultism and magic, things of this nature, are themselves not successful. Or, as we would put it in layman's terms, they're losers. Or they're people who inherited money and squandered it all, like Aleister Crowley. Or like Anton LaVey, who had some fun working crazy jobs, which may or may not even be true, but we all know that he ultimately inherited his house from his parents. So it's easy for people like that to sucker people in, thinking that they can get something for nothing. But the reality is, you cannot get something for nothing. You can only get something for something. And in order to do that, you have to create something real with your own effort, will,